Well, here I am post-Requiem. Michael and Peter have been able to speak about Theo as a colleague, as a friend, family friend. And I, probably like most people in the room, can speak of him only as a pupil. Alas, I think, on the principle of si monumentum requiris, I am an unqualified panegyrist because it turned out, in my case, that the seed had fallen among thorns, to borrow a phrase from one of Theo's least favourite books. As I think of a time when, despite his well-patinated aspect, Theo was younger than I am now, I retain the effect of a quite overwhelming experience. This was not just the natural gratitude and affection that anyone might feel when he encounters, at an impressionable age, some of the greatest works of the human mind and feels it as a person who introduces, mediates, and expounds them. Nor was it Theo's astonishing ability to set beside each other in quite unexpected juxtapositions all sorts of marvels of the world, especially, of course, the worlds of letters and music. One could recount, everyone in the room could recount probably for days, not just for 5 minutes, some of these incredible effects. I remember when we started reading the eclogues, he insisted that we bring in a gramophone and that he played the minuet from Mozart's 40th Symphony so that we could understand what syncopation was. Syncopation lay at the root of the contrast between metrical ictus and natural word stress in Virgil. There was the marvellous juxtaposition which he pointed out to us of Theocritus, the favourite, and Adam Smith. They rhyme in Russian in the first chapter of Evgenia Onegin. That led him from the previous line to remarks of a grammatical kind illustrated by the Greenwich translation of Homer, which of course he had in a first edition, bought with his demonic luck in a swoop on a Moscow bookshop 30 years before. This was all utter magic, but I think that the source of the magic was somewhere deeper. One afternoon, I encountered Theo in the sanctuary outside Westminster Abbey, and naturally a conversation began. And there then hove into view a person walking briskly across the sanctuary in attire that betokened, a nearby office job. And I was a former pupil, and he stopped to greet and then to start a conversation of his own. But after about a minute or two, he said, well, I must be going now. And to me, for someone who was about to catch a train, obviously from Victoria, it seemed a quite unexceptional thing to say. But the moment he was out of earshot, Theo, to my astonishment, started expostulating and saying that the one thing he couldn't stand was people who had to go now. Now, I don't think, this wasn't just because if you have to go now, you end a spiel before it's time. I think what he meant, and he did explain it, but I'll use it in different words now, that he didn't like the idea that you can organize and divide human relationships into bite-sized chunks, as we might say today. I think what was the absolutely remarkable thing about Theo was the totally unfeigned wholeheartedness and unreserved commitment, not just to the subject of study, but to the person of the pupil. I mean, am I the only person in this room who came to feel post-Theo study to have been something of a trek in an unnourishing desert? It may be, of course, that knowledge, even in the humanities, is a sort of impersonal thing, and it may be that the so-called inspiring teacher should be prized only for his effect in imparting this knowledge, and that becoming an inspiring teacher is a matter of training. I'll leave the debate to the many experts who are in the room, and you can perhaps give me the answer afterwards. But speaking personally rather than scientifically, I think that Theo was the living proof of the error, the fundamental error of impersonality. Everyone in this room has had the experience of a paideia, which was not just an unconscious link with the traditions of antiquity, which was the object of our study. I mean, when I was looking for words, because I have no words, to describe the experience of Theo, I found them actually in the way that Gregory Thaumaturge invoked the teaching of Origen in the 3rd century AD. But it was also the real thing. It's the relationship between the master, the pupil, and the object of study that directs and forms the pupil's soul. Mindful and ashamed that I haven't given to others what I was given by Theo, I simply can't find words to express this experience correctly and to express my gratitude for it. Theo was and is truly a Theos amer.